We move on to Sunday, September 24th. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern. Tennessee Titans 1-1, 0-1 on the road at the Cleveland Browns, 1-1, 1-0 at home. We're at Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, 70 Fahrenheit. There's a chance of showers. 9 miles per hour is the weather. Of course, the main thing that is thought about immediately is Chubb and the injury. Ford looked okay. That big 70-yard run was pretty exciting, but Chubb is a monster, and it's going to be a huge, huge loss for these Browns moving forward. There's been a big move towards the Titans. The Titans opened up at Pinnacle at 3.5. This didn't become available to 9:08 this morning. Opened up at 3.5 minus 103. That 3.5 within 2 hours or 2.5 hours moved from minus 103 to minus 126. You want actually up to minus 132 even. So it moved 29 cents in 2.5 hours. Then it moved to 3, and even those threes are getting hammered. The 3 plus 3 is now at minus 114. At 1 p.m. today, it was at minus 105. So we have a big move towards the Tennessee Titans. From a total standpoint here, we're sitting at a 39.5, and that is at a pick'em. This did open up at 40.5, so it's dropped a point. So we have a big move here. No, Cheshire, you're not blocked. So here we go. From the cash flow side of things here, we have Titans, Browns, and we have 55% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the under. 84% of the tickets and 95% of the cash is the Tennessee Titans. And Al Cervic, no, the Giants did not fly home. They stayed on the West Coast. Al Cervic says, I will do nothing but fade Browns. Watson's being shit in 8 games now. But Cheshire Cat says the Titans are a joke. Terry Walker says, I still like the Browns. Let's set this up. Titans come in off a crucial 27-24 overtime win at home versus the Chargers that snapped their 8-game losing streak dating back to last year. They're now an NFL best 17-10 in games decided by 3 points or less since 2018, and that was, of course, Vrabel's first year. Tannehill looked good. Old man Tannehill, 34 years old, 20 of 24 for 246 yards and a touchdown. They went 6 of 13 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. Traylon Burks led receivers with 3 catches for 76 yards. And DeAndre Hopkins did not practice all week because of an ankle injury, was able to play, caught 4 passes for 40 yards. Derrick Henry ran 25 times for 80 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 passes for 15 yards. That helped the Titans hold on to the ball for 8 minutes and 40 seconds more than the Chargers and help them control the game. The defense looked strong against the dangerous Chargers offense. They completely shut down their running game. That was, of course, missing Austin Eckler. The Titans had the number 1 run defense last year. They held the Chargers to just 61 yards on 21 carries. Now they face this Browns ground attack that's missing superstar Nick Chubb. The Chargers were just 2 of 14 on third down and 2 of 5 in the red zone. I think we can expect similar numbers from the Browns this week. The Titans finished with 3 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. Like last year, the Titans secondary is again dealing with injuries. Safety Amani Hooker missed the game, and he's still in concussion protocol. So we'll get that first update on tomorrow's Wednesday injury report. And cornerback Christian Fulton also missed the game. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Rookie left guard Pete Skoronski, the number 11 pick overall out of Northwestern in April, was declared out Saturday with an illness. So he will be back. Tennessee started Xavier Newman in Skoronski's spot, but he looked awful. And then Dylan Radins tore his ACL last December in the loss to the Chargers, took over in the second quarter. And, he looked much better than Newman. But we all expect Skoronski to be fine and back in the lineup here this week. Browns come in on short week, 26-22 loss last night at Pittsburgh. Tough to watch Chubb go down. He had 106 yards on the ground week 1 against the Bengals. He had 64 yards on 10 carries before he got injured. Jerome Ford ran for 106 yards on 16 carries. He's now the number 1 back. He also caught 3 passes for 25 yards. Kareem Hunt met with the Browns today, so we expect him to be back. There's also Leonard Fournette that is available. They could trade for Cam Akers. They could trade for Jonathan Taylor, but Taylor would be expensive. Deshaun Watson was 22 of 40 for 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also ran 6 times for 22 yards, but he lost 2 fumbles, one of which was returned by TJ Watt for the game-winning touchdown, and he is not to be trusted. The face mask, the 2 face mask penalties were, out of fear. They were blatant, and they stopped huge drives and allowed us to cash live unders. The Browns outgained the Steelers 408 to 255. Their defense was excellent. They held the Steelers to just 9 first downs. The Steelers never ran a play from the red zone all game long. I mean, it was impressive. Just 55 yards came on the ground. They held on to the ball 11 minutes longer than the Steelers. Zadarius Smith is dealing with a non-contact injury, and it could be very bad. This was a huge signing to take pressure off of Garrett and Myles Garrett, and this is huge loss if he is lost here. And it was the 4 turnovers that ultimately did them in. I agree with this move to the under to the 39.5. This makes a ton of sense to me. And we often see teams step up in their first game without their star, which is something we will talk about with the Cincinnati Bengals. Take it away for us here, Troy. Titans, Browns.
Yeah, I started digging into this game, and obviously the first thing I always look at is the market, and we notice that this is a public road dog. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that this would be the biggest public road dog in the history of public road dogs, to be honest, because I know you're saying about 84% of bets, 90-ish% of cash, and I'm seeing even more than that at this point. So my question is this number getting too low? It's about to cross 3. I think we'll end up seeing a 2.5, and I think that's a little questionable because we've seen what Cleveland did on defense, and they allowed 55 yards on the ground, but 80% of that came on one play. All the passing yards, about half of their passing yards came on one play as well. But the thing is, despite what the defense can do, this injury to Chubb just changes the trajectory of this team in a massive way. His IQ in the backfield is probably the best in our generation. Patience on every carry, sitting behind blocks, just trying to grind out yards, constantly falling forward. I mean, what he does is incredible. And the run blocking unit, this offensive line is a run blocking unit, is 24th rated in the NFL. And that just speaks volumes to how efficient Chubb was on the ground. But my hopes for Deshaun Watson are waning. Before the season, I had faith that, Deshaun might have some type of return to form to what he used to be as an MVP. That's just not happening. He looks uncomfortable in the pocket. He has trouble making decisions. He's constantly missing or not throwing to open receivers. And he has the second highest pocket time in the NFL. And that just speaks to how indecisive he is. He looks it, and the numbers bear that out. And he, that's second highest pocket time next to Bryce Young, a rookie quarterback, and he's right up there with him. This entire dynamic of this team is about to change without Chubb. So we got to see what that looks like, because Ford is good, but there's no other Chubb in the NFL right now. So we'll have to see what the offense looks like. That remains to be seen. The defense, I mean, do we have to touch on numbers? What they've done is incredible. The loss of Zadarius Smith is real, and it's a concern of mine. And Jimmy, did you touch on the injuries at the defensive backfield?
No, we didn't hit the secondary too hard. No.
Right. I think 2 of their starting DBs, including Newsome, who I thought was one of the best DBs in the league at the time, he went down. I think he came out of the game and didn't return. So there's still a lot of questions with this game. I think that if it's about to close under 3, I'd probably be backing the Browns again. And you're going to see that a common theme is, and I don't know if it's bias or not. So please, Jimmy, if you think I'm being biased, fucking stop me, man. Because, I was on the Browns. We're going to talk about some teams later. I've been heavy on the Browns, and I'm feeling like that's going to be the right side this week again. Because when I look at the Titans, I mean, I think that they were lucky to escape with a win. They had a few penalties in Charger territory on 3rd and long, 3rd and over 10 yards that were questionable flags at best that ended up leading to touchdowns. That would have been settled for those should have been field goals, not touchdowns. And I mean, Tannehill, he was sacked on 17% of his pass attempts, yet this pass blocking ranking that they're getting is 14. I think it doesn't really reflect in the grade. So I'm a little bit questionative about that. But they were able to hit some deep shots. And if you're a Titans backer, that's something you want to see. In week 1, they averaged 2.5 air yards per attempt. In week 2, they led the NFL with an 8.0 air yards per attempt. On the ground, Tajay Spears was way more efficient than Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears averaged 6.1, Derrick Henry 3.2 yards per carry. But albeit Tajay Spears, some of his carries were on 2nd and 3rd and long. where he turned out some given yards on a cushioned or shell defense. But Vrabel and Tannehill basically scoffed at the Chargers defense and said they go from years of passing the ball to dink and dunk small passes. You don't see Tannehill hitting these deep shots like this. I've never seen it out of Tannehill. So I was very surprised to see that. And on defense, this Titans team is surprisingly one of the best teams in the league in two categories. That's in the red zone, where it's very important to be good, and on third down, where it's vitally important to be good. I think they held the Chargers to like 2 of 14 on third down. I mean, I think that speaks volumes to Vrabel. It's just really hard for me in this game because I could see the Browns jumping out to a lead. And if the Browns jump out to a lead, how are they going to dig out of that hole with the defense they're going to be up against? So I'm kind of leaning towards the Browns in this one, and I'd probably be on it if it's going to close at 2.5.
Sky Dragon made the game Cleveland -3 with a total of 38. Terry Walker leaning to the over. I think that this under is the way to play it here. Ron Crawford moving to Cleveland money line. Sharpie says expect big shots with Tannehill now having D-Hop, the best 50-50 ball guy in the world. So I think that
D-Hop. I don't think D-Hop is the concern on the deep ball, personally. I mean, he does win the 50-50 balls. He's not open, but he makes all the catches. But at the same time, Treylon Burks is the deep threat. Who caught the deep passes for them? I thought it was Treylon.
In their last spot, yeah, it was Treylon 3 for 76. D-Hop dealing with the ankle injury, and hopefully he'll be a little better here. A little healthier here. Shout out to Trade 8, now a member of Pub Sports Radio. It means a ton to us. Thank you for that. And Chris Mack saying Greg Newsome is considered day to day. JT Joseph Thompson says Titans fade the Browns every game. This is a spot where, historically, the books make a ton of money because everybody will be betting against the Browns here. And we see this in all team sports. I don't really consider baseball one of them, but all team sports where a team down their star player steps up. I don't know if I have the balls to do it, but I do think I have the balls to bet the under 39.5, which I expect to move on now when this show wraps up. So I think I've looked.
I'm going to mark that down, Jimmy, because I agree. I mean, based on everything I'm looking at and everything that I've seen, the under seems to be a solid play, even at 39.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. All right, let's roll on.